guys, it's Sophie. So today I'm going to be doing my October wrap up. I haven't read all that much this month, in line with my trying to read less, and it's a little bit different kind of stuff to stuff I've been reading before, just slight changes. But yeah, so we will get in, we'll see what we think. It's going to just be one video again because there's not so much to talk about. So the first book that I got around to this month was Meatspace by Nikesh Shukla. I didn't get on with this book at all. I very nearly DNF'd it, but because it was such an easy read I thought I might as well power through. This book is a little bit of an odd one. It's essentially about a man who has a very unusual name. I think he's Indian. He's called, I'll have a go, Kitab Bala Subramaniam, and essentially someone who has the same name as him, why his name is important, finds him via Facebook and begins sort of stalking him and trying to sort of take his life. And his brother, sort of a parallel story, is in the States looking for a person he thinks is his doppelganger. So it's all sort of about these like doubles, and his doppelganger I think he found on Twitter. So it's all sort of internet and doubles almost. I thought I'd kind of quite like it, but I just found it really dull. It talks a lot about sort of Twitter particularly, and the way in which people engage with Twitter and how sort of low level it is, and how we aren't really in our real lives a lot of the time, and how these two brothers' separate sort of experiences are their real lives, how different their lives are from this double. Yeah, I just really didn't go on with it. I actually gave it 1 star, and I was quite pleased that I actually managed to finish it because I really thought I needed to DNF it. I wouldn't recommend it, though it does sound interesting. When I'm describing it now, I'm like, that does sound like a good book, but I really didn't like it, I'm sorry. And the next one I got around to was a reread for me. That was My Friend Dahmer by Derf, Backderf. I loved reading this one again. It's really dark, like it leaves you feeling a little bit dirty, I think, like it's kind of that dark and that grim. But it is really good. It's a graphic novel, in case you haven't heard me talk about it before. It's all done in the sort of black and white panel styles the whole way through. It's got a sort of strange, sort of robotic quality to the people that he's drawing, which fits really well with Dahmer. Dahmer was always described as being quite like a robotic individual, and it didn't quite fit in. And it's talking about his sort of early childhood, so the period from his sort of 15 to 16-year-old self up to his first murder, and it's told by a man who went to high school with Dahmer, and so interacted with him and actually had like quite a large role in Dahmer's sort of social circle at the time. It's absolutely intriguing. I really like the drawing style. I really need to try and find more of his books. He obviously doesn't do true crime generally, it's just because he knew Dahmer. But still, I think it's good fun. Yeah, if you're into true crime at all, then this is really interesting. The next one's another true crime. This one is A Mother's Reckoning, living in the aftermath of the Columbine tragedy by Klebold. I spoke about this one a little bit in my non-fiction November recommends, and I was corrected in that video. It's not Eric Klebold, it is Dylan Klebold, so apologies. Dylan Klebold was one of the Columbine shooters in the massacre that occurred. And his mother here is writing about her experience of her son being involved in that, and what happened to the family afterwards, her trying to make sense of it, and her journey through sort of understanding the mental health and the reasons behind why her son might have done this, whilst obviously never being able to ask him. It was really, really, really good. It really touched me, and I was reading at my mum's, and she reminds me an awful lot of my mum. I could see my mum like acting in the same way as she did, and she just felt so human and so real, and like I felt her pain, because obviously people would, you know, say that it was her fault, that it was her poor parenting that all this had happened, and she's sort of struggling with that as well as having lost her son. It's a really interesting book, and you're not probably going to get much else out there that's like this. If it does sound interesting to you, then it really is really quite an impressive book. The next one that I read was Point Amigo by DeLillo. I did enjoy this book, and I thought it was sort of an interesting read. I don't think that I understood it fully. I think that a lot of it sort of went over my head. Either that or the messages weren't as deep as I think they probably should be. So this is a very strange story. It's about this man who used to work for the United States military and has withdrawn from his position as sort of an advisor role, I suppose, in military conflict, and he's gone out to live in this little place in the desert, and a man, a journalist, tries to follow him to make a film about sort of war and about sort of this man, but it's a very sort of bleak film, and it's very intimate and kind of different, and there are a few other sort of things that are woven in. So there's this really odd, which will stick with me for ages, really odd scene where this security guard is watching footage of an art installation called 24 Hour Psycho, which was a real exhibit that did happen, in which the horror movie Alfred Hitchcock Psycho played over 24 hours, so massively slowed down, and he's sort of watching his life pass him in these tiny increments through Psycho. It's really interesting, there's a lot going on. I don't think it's kind of the kind of thing you can wrap up neatly in a video like this, but I did enjoy it. I definitely want to read more of DeLillo and see if I can see more patterns going through his work, and maybe try and dig a little bit more into sort of articles or analysis of it, because I would like to try and get as much from it as I can, and I do feel as though I had the surface level story and a few of the central messages, but that I missed a lot of the nuance in the book. But yeah, I did enjoy it for what it's worth. So if you are interested in that kind of story, then it is worth a shot. And the next book I have, I absolutely adored. I didn't haul it for you guys because I actually picked it up when I went to see an old friend. And it was in what was my childhood bookshop, and I was so pleasantly surprised to find it was still there and that I could still go in and have all those memories when I was a very little girl. I used to go on a Saturday with my mum, and I just wanted to buy something. I saw The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, and I'd been meaning to read Toni Morrison for a while and just haven't got around to it for whatever reason, and I completely adored this book. Probably sort of objectively, this is one of the best books I've read in a very long time, I would say. In terms of its importance and in terms of the angles of literature of it. It felt a little bit to me in terms of that sort of moral tale, like To Kill a Mockingbird. It's a story that talks about race, it's a story that talks about a young girl who grows up in a very poor, sort of steeped in poverty, her whole family, her whole existence, sort of black neighbourhoods, and she sees these, in her mind, so these glittering white girls who are the centre of attention, who are sort of praised and valued, and she wants more than anything in the world to have blue eyes, because that's one step towards becoming, towards having all of the opportunities and all of the love that white children have. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And just gorgeously told. It's told through a child's perspective, which I think is kind of what reminded me a little bit of To Kill a Mockingbird, in that Scout sort of morality plays in. Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. It was easily a 5-star and will be one of the best books that I've read this year. Just amazing. So the next 2 books I'm going to do just as flybys, because I am actually going to review both of them for you. So the first one is A House of Leaves by Danielewski, and the next one I think I already will have uploaded the review of. I'm filming in bulk, as you'll be able to tell from my clothes looking the same in all of them. But yes, the other one is A Supposedly Fun Thing That I Will Never Do Again by David Foster Wallace. Okay, and the next one I have to talk about, I absolutely love this book. It's Heroes of the Frontier by Dave Eggers. This is going to be one of my big recommends for Christmas and for it getting cold. It was so lovely, and it just made me feel so warm and amazing. This is a story about a mother who has this horrible relationship with her partner, who just doesn't really care about anything and doesn't seem to engage. She slightly loses her mind and decides to take her 2 children away in a camper van, and they're going to go and they're going to trek across to Alaska, and they're going to have this sort of extended holiday, is how she's thinking of it, in this RV, and they're just going to get away from it all. She's not really supposed to do it because she's not supposed to take the children so far away from their father, but he's such a deadbeat she doesn't think he's really going to notice. I just love this book. The scenery sort of described is just gorgeous. It's got that sort of element of sort of cold woods, and there's actually sort of underlying it this really gorgeous danger of the forest fire, which is just in my head like such a gorgeous image. And the mother, the character of the mother was really relatable. I thought that it was quite funny at points. She has 2 children, one's called Paul and he's a very serious sort of studious child and very easy to look after, and her youngest is called Anna and she's essentially one of those like wild children you get who just seem to break everything and just run around and just cause mayhem. And she really gets to know her children on this journey and gets to know herself. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I'd really recommend that you guys pick this one up over the next few months, but it's still cold and lovely. I really loved it. And then similarly in a sort of Dave Eggers-y vein, I actually got a copy of McSweeney. This is volume 47. This is Dave Eggers' sort of literary magazine that he sort of started up to try and give sort of like a playing space, I suppose, for big name authors who weren't able just to publish like short stories anymore. Like they can't just put something out because it has to be like a massive fanfare every time they publish, which means it's really high quality writing, and they're all really inventively put together. This is my first one that I bought and I thought that I would give it a shot because it did sound like, of all the literary sort of magazines that I've found my way around so far, one of the ones that were going to appeal to me the most. I do have a few that I've subscribed to already, but in terms of like new ones to get to. I haven't finished all of this yet because I am taking them really slow, but they are sort of published really differently. Each one is redesigned, so you have, these are all sort of individual books and they're all individual short stories or letters or essays, by loads of different authors, which is really good fun. And we've got a couple like first published Shirley Jackson's in there that just didn't get out anywhere else, and it's just, yeah, it's just been really good fun. I've been reading my way through these sort of relatively sporadically. I'm gonna have to give me just a sec to put these back in again. It's a little bit of an art. Yeah, so I've been reading my way through these, just sort of grabbing them every now and again, and because they're so small, it's been really nice to have like 20 minutes with a cup of coffee and a really good short story. It's just been lovely. So I'm definitely going to be trying to get my hands on more of these. They are fairly expensive because each time they make a magazine they redesign the entire thing. So it's not always a box full of short stories. Sometimes it might be like one novel length thing. Sometimes it was like CDs. Sometimes it's just a sheath of like bound pages. Like you don't know what you're going to get each time and it's always very different, but it's always really nicely designed. You can't see, and I can't think of a nice way to show you, but the pictures on the cover of each of these red ones actually make like a scape of this like fantastical town. So it's just got really a lovely level of attention to detail that I really enjoy. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on more of these once I finish off the short stories that I have left. And the very last thing I have to talk to you about today is Rage by Stephen King. I got hold of it! I finally got hold of it. This is the Batman book. This is one of the like original ones. Look at that. Don't you just love him? I love Stephen King. It's a bind-up of his 4 sort of early Batman novels, and you've got Rage, you've got The Running Man, you've got The Long Walk, and Thinner, I think. No, Roadwork. Sorry, Roadwork. But yeah, so I worked my way through Rage, and I'm actually carrying on because it's quite nice, and it's, you know, nearly Halloween, so shoot me. But yeah, Rage, I spoke about a little bit before in one of my other videos, in that I was really trying to get hold of this book. It's out of print now, and this is kind of like gold dust to me. I'm so happy that I have it. It's a novel about a school shooter. And the reason why it's so sort of controversial, the reason why the book's been banned, is because a number of real life school shooters have spoken about Rage or have had sort of copies of Rage like near them when they've been about to perform their shootings, and have acted the book out to quite a lot of extent. And King just couldn't deal with that, which I completely understand, just didn't want that to be happening anymore. The book itself is really interesting, and you know, I think outside of the sort of context of real life awfulness, whilst you know the banning of it makes it more interesting to me, obviously the death doesn't. The book is about a quite disturbed young man called Charlie Decker who feels sort of disconnected from life and from society and from his fellow sort of students, and he takes a classroom hostage, killing 2 teachers. And the novel really gets to that stage quite quickly. We go through Charlie's sort of mindset in the first few chapters, but then we really are into it with him in this hostage situation. The novel is what unfolds afterwards, and it's one of those things where you have an idea and then you have King's twist on the idea. I'm not going to go into anything more than that. I don't know if you guys will be able to get hold of it, but I did think it was interesting. There probably are PDFs online. Normally I obviously wouldn't recommend that you do that, but in the case where a book is banned or unavailable to purchase for any kind of reasonable price, then that may be the way that you need to read it if you want to read it. Obviously if you can find a copy to buy that's of a reasonable price, then I would advise you do that first. But if not, those kind of things are available. Yeah, so that is everything that I managed to get through this month. It's been a short reading month. It's felt as though I've read near nothing, and whilst it's been a period of adjustment for me, I think overall it's been good. I talked about that a little bit in my last video, which I'm about to film now. Very confusing. But I will see you soon in my next one, and I hope you're well and happy and looking after yourselves, and that you all had a really good Halloween too. Alright, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. So I thought I'd make a video talking to you guys about what it's been like for me to be trying to read less.